Today, we are going to talk about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. First, we are going to introduce you to the stories of how each of these religions started. Then we will discuss similarities and differences between their belief systems.
We are going to start with the first and oldest of the three religions, Judaism. Judaism is a monotheistic religion that emerged with the Israelites in the eastern Mediterranean in the Mesopotamian River Valley. The Israelites were originally one nomadic tribe from the area, so named because they considered themselves to be the descendants of Jacob, who changed his name to Israel. Judaism all starts with Abraham. Abraham was born in the Sumerian city of Ur. After Abraham's father died, Yahweh, which is the Jewish term for God, visited Abraham and instructed him to smash the idols of his father's gods, to worship the one and only true God, Yahweh, and to move his family to Canaan. Yahweh promised Abraham that if he followed these laws, he would found a great nation that would live in a land flowing with milk and honey. This land, known as Canaan in ancient times, is roughly located in the same place as modern-day Israel. The Torah tells how Abraham had two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. The Hebrews traced their heritage through Isaac. Isaac had a son, Jacob, who in turn had 12 sons. These sons became the leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel. When a severe drought plagued Canaan, the descendants of Abraham came to Egypt. There, the Hebrews prospered and became a great nation. They became so numerous that a pharaoh enslaved the Hebrews. This pharaoh is believed to be Ramses II. The Torah then recounts the story of Moses, who led the Hebrews out of Egypt in slavery. After what the Hebrews believed was a series of acts by Yahweh on their behalf, including various plagues on the Egyptians and their crops and livestock, Moses led his people out of Egypt. According to the Old Testament, the Hebrews wandered in the desert between Egypt and Canaan for 40 years. Moses received the 10 Commandments during this time, which outlined some of the basic laws governing behavior. He also struggled to keep his people from worshiping gods other than Yahweh. In 722 BC, the northern half of Hebrew lands known as Israel was invaded and mostly destroyed by the Assyrians. The southern half, known as Judea, survived until around 597 BC when the Babylonians defeated the Judeans. But the Hebrews continued to fall under the domination of other empires. In 70 AD, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem and sent most of the Jews into an exile that lasted until the 20th century. Over centuries, the Israelites' literature, history, and laws were compiled and edited into a series of texts now often referred to in secular contexts as the Hebrew Bible. The Hebrew Bible, or Tanakh, contains three major sections: the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. Next up is Christianity.
According to Judaism, humans' time on earth was limited and would soon be replaced by God's everlasting kingdom. Jews believed that the end of the world would be brought about by a Messiah. Many Jews were waiting for this Messiah to deliver them from the Roman rule. For some, this Messiah did arrive, and his name was Jesus. Jesus was born around the year 1 AD and was raised by a Jewish family. As an adult, he preached love and tolerance. He was also believed to have performed many miracles, including healing the sick, walking on water, and even raising the dead. Jesus preached that he was the Son of God and claimed that there was life after death, and he taught to love even one's enemies. A small group of followers, the 12 apostles, believed he was the promised Messiah and helped to spread his views. Some people believed that Jesus was a troublemaker. On the night of the Passover Seder, known to Christians as the Last Supper, Jesus was arrested. Jesus was then sentenced to death, was beaten, and crucified, which means nailed to a cross until death. This was common punishment of public criminals at the time. Then, 3 days after his death, Jesus' tomb was found empty. His disciples claimed that they saw visions of Jesus having risen from the dead or resurrected. The resurrection story is a central part of Christianity and is the basis of the holiday Easter. The Romans persecuted these early Christians for rejecting the Roman traditions. But Paul, one of Jesus' 12 apostles, traveled far and wide, and his followers did a remarkable job spreading Christianity. Almost 400 years later, it became the official religion of the Roman Empire and spread around the world. The last of the three religions is Islam. Muhammad was born around AD 570 in the city of Mecca, located on the Arabian Peninsula. His ideas became the basis for one of the world's most widely practiced religions, Islam.
While meditating in a cave on Mount Hira, Muhammad had a sudden vision. He came to believe that he was called on by God to be a messenger and a teacher of a new faith, Islam, which this new faith included ideas from Judaism and Christianity and respected the holy books of these religions and their great leaders, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and others. Muhammad called Abraham Khalil, or God's friend, and identified him as one of Islam's founding fathers, along with his son Ishmael. Muhammad believed that he himself was God's final messenger. In 622 AD, fearing for his life, Muhammad fled to the town of Medina. This flight from Mecca to Medina became known as the Hijra, which is Arabic for flight. In Medina, the local people welcomed Muhammad and his followers. There, Muhammad built the first mosque or Islamic temple and began to work to separate Islam from Judaism and Christianity, which had originally influenced him. Whereas his followers, called Muslims, had originally prayed while facing towards Jerusalem, he now had them face towards Mecca. Muhammad continued to have visions from Allah. Through these visions, he came up with a text called the Quran, which contains the fundamental ideas of Islam. Unfortunately, Muhammad had not picked someone to lead Islam after he died. The struggle over leadership that followed his death has divided Muslims to this day, creating a division in Islam between Sunni and Shia. Despite these problems, a vast Islamic empire was created, and over time, the religion built a massive base of worshippers across the world.
All right, now let's compare all three religions. How did each belief system define these relationships with God, with society, and with other humans?
Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are the three great ancient monotheistic faiths. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all trace their origins back to Abraham, and due to their shared history, the city of Jerusalem is sacred to members of all three faiths.
Judaism is the oldest of the three. Christianity and Islam both began when a new teacher or prophet added on or changed the original teachings of Abraham. In Christianity, this new teacher was Jesus Christ. In Islam, this new teacher was Muhammad.
However, all three religions believe in the exact same God. They sometimes call that God by different names. While Christians use the name God, Jews say Yahweh, and Muslims say Allah.
All three religions are also centered on important texts that teach values and practices. For Jews, it is the Tanakh, which includes the Torah. Christians have the Bible, and Muslims have the Quran.
All of these books include teachings on how people should live their lives. Judaism and Christianity both use the 10 Commandments as an outline for how to live their lives, while in Islam, Muslims use the 5 pillars as a code for how to live their lives.
Each religion also has a house of worship. In Judaism, it's called a synagogue. In Christianity, a church. In Islam, it is called a mosque.
While these three religions have many differences and unique features, each religion provides guidance for how people can earn salvation, how they should live their best lives, and how people can live together peacefully. This has been a World Cultures production.